from around the world. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Global Talkative Series with your man Lanre Ajayi. And this is a global platform where we hang out with each other, collaborate, and inspire one another. And we have been blessed on this show with amazing and wonderful guests from around the world coming on this platform to share their word of experience with us. And today's topic is so unique and very important. And this is the fourth edition that we're doing with this particular speaker. And I'm just going to bring him in right now into the studio because we're reaching you from Global Talkative Series studio here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and we are coming to you live Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
I don't even know how do I change this camera. Hold on.
Okay, so uh, are
Yeah.
you or are you? Your phone is
How do I switch the camera? I have no idea. Okay, I think I've seen it.
yes, good. That is good.
Oh my goodness, that was crazy.
All right, so we have our guest in their house today. You can hear me very well, right?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, what about your? Do you have an earphone?
No, should I?
No, it's okay. There's no feedback. Nothing. Everything is perfect.
Okay.
So you can
So
just
I
reduce
just
the
I just
volume
reduced the volume of the
of your
phone
phone. Yeah.
and yeah, and
Okay. So I don't have any feedback, but it's good. So our guest today is Dr. Samuel Iwa, certified life coach, life and relationship coach. And he's been on this show. It's been an amazing guest, and we always have a wonderful time. And we started a series, a topic some time ago, and we're doing the part two of the topic. And the topic of our discussion today is demystifying the taboo around family and marital counseling slash therapy. And this is part two. And for those who are joining us from around the world, thank you so much for taking time to be here and to learn because this is a platform for us to exchange ideas and to learn. And if you have any questions today, kindly send your question in on Facebook or YouTube or on Instagram, and then we'll do our best to attend to the question. And like we do it on this show, I'm going to read the profile of our guest to you so that I can connect on some level with our guest before we go to the question. Dr. Samuel Iwa is a relationship coach, medical doctor, and humanist who is passionate about helping people cultivate healthy relationships, starting from the one with themselves. After practicing medicine for a couple of years, Dr. Sam realized that too many of his patients and many in the world today were succeeding at almost everything except relationships. So he decided to become an active part of the conversation in changing the narrative. He left the practice of medicine and is currently doing a master's degree in counseling psychology to become as a relationship and marriage therapist. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again, Dr. Sam. How are you today?
thank you for having me. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
That's wonderful. During the first part of this topic, we actually ended on some very important questions
Right.
relating to marriage, joint accounts, open marriage versus entanglement, living lovers, all of that. And we're going to kick off right away, from where we stopped.
Right.
And the question for that I had that I was going to ask you before, because we had two sessions last time. And then the question we were talking about is marriage building and transformation. What can we do to have a stress free and blissful marriage? That's if it exists. Is there anything like blissful, free of stress marriage at all?
Hmm. I think that, thank you for the question, by the way. I think that the question is a very interesting one because um, different people have different definitions of what a blissful marriage looks like. And that is why it is very important that when two people come together, in that dating and going out phase, it is very important to have these conversations about what a blissful marriage looks like. This question kind of connects me with something that I've heard someone say before, when the person said they have been looking for love, and every person that they meet, they love this person, they give the person their all, but the person doesn't give their all to them. It's like the person was saying, I am looking for love, but every person that I have gotten to be with, it's as if that person is not looking for love too.
Wow.
And I was trying to explain to her, and I said, every person that you meet is actually looking for love. But each and every one of us just has a different definition of what that love looks like.
Mm.
So when you get into a relationship with someone, some people are looking for, based on their history, based on their conditioning, some people are looking for someone that will get into a relationship with them and just spend money on them.
Mm.
Some people are looking for a relationship where they get into that relationship and this person is going to give them a child and is going to be the housekeeper of the home. Some people are looking for a homemaker. And if that person finds a homemaker who does not question them, who does not just do the job that I think in my mind that you are here to do, to that person, that's a blissful marriage.
Mm.
Some people, they get into marriage, and my dad told me about one lady one time that was telling him, said, please just find me any man I can get married to. I only want his name.
Wow.
He
Wow.
can go ahead and do whatever he likes with his life. I just need that married name to be called a
This
Mrs.
is.
And as long as I have that, I'm good. So different people have different definitions of what a blissful marriage is. And
Mm.
so my answer to that question would be to sit down and have a conversation with your spouse. And I know that many times some people think that these conversations are hard. And maybe some of us don't even know how to have conversations or to sit down with our partners. But the truth is, many times when you sit down and have these conversations, you get to see what the other person envisions for the
Mm.
relationship, and they get to share their own vision with you. And by the time both of you express those two visions, you will most likely be able to come to a space where you can find a way to give that person what it is that they want while they give you what it is that you want. Because at the end of the day, my blissful is what I'm expecting it to be, and your blissful is what you expect it to be. So our blissful is a combination of yours and mine. And so where many people, I think, get to miss on that bliss is that I am expecting you to give it to me the way that I want, and you are expecting me to give it to you the way that you want, and then we just end up clashing.
Mm.
So there's this, it's almost a conversation, like it's like a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
I'm angry with you, I'm upset with you, you're not doing it this way, you're not doing it that way. And the other person is saying the same thing too. You're not doing it this way and it's upsetting me. So
Mm.
where do we start? I think the very first place for us to start when it comes to a blissful marriage is for us to understand what we call love languages, something that was invented by Dr. Gary Chapman.
Okay.
I think most people have heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it because, you know, if I sit in front of you, you need a car, you need a house, you need a job. And I'm telling you, but in Chinese, Larry, I got a job for you. There's a house parked in your garage right now, and I just put $100,000 in your account. You're still gonna be upset
Mm-hmm.
because you have no idea what I'm telling you, right?
You're
Like,
just like speaking to the hair.
exactly. And I'm gonna be looking at you like, dude, why are you still worried? What's the problem with you? I just told you your problems have been solved. And that's the conversation around love languages. People are spending all their time, and I see this with couples every time. They're spending all their time giving love to someone with all their heart, with all their soul. But that person has no idea what it is that this person is communicating to them. So without going into, because love languages is a huge topic, and I know we
Mm,
have just 1 hour, I
mm.
would advise everyone to get that book. Gary Chapman's The Five Love Languages. And even if it means going on the website, I think it's the5lovelanguages.com, something like that. You and your partner take that test. Sometimes I have found that even when people take those tests and they know what their love languages are, they still don't know how to express those love languages. Because I'll give you an example.
All right.
One of Gary's love languages is words of affirmation.
Mm,
Okay. So that simply means that whenever this person does something, you are there to say, I see you, I see what you did.
yeah.
It's not just about appreciating them, it's about voicing it out. Your
Mm,
words actually matter. This
yeah.
is someone that you can show you love from today to next year. And if you don't say it, it will be as if you haven't done anything,
Mm.
because they need to hear you say it.
It's like you re-echo what they're saying, what they're doing.
Yes, you need to verbalize it. So that's people with words of affirmation. But here's the interesting thing:
Mm.
people who have a love language of words of affirmation also do not want you to tell them negative things.
Wow.
So you see that not only do you have a situation where you have to be loving this person by your words, but when you give them negative feedback,
Feedback.
negative, it affects them more than it will affect the regular person.
So what happens in the situation whereby, because we are all prone to offenses, we
Yes,
offend each other. So
right.
when in a scenario where the person offends you, I'm just gonna pretend, okay, you
No.
gotta
But here's
speak.
the thing: because you recognize that this person's love language is words of affirmation, then you now, which is what we do when we're in therapy, right? You now get to practice what we call the sandwich approach. So,
Okay.
take for example, and that just means like you want to give the person that criticism, but that's like the meat. So, you put bread on top and bread on the other side. So, you come to the person and you say, my friend, you have really been helping me this time that I've been doing this, and doing this.
Yeah.
But that time that you did this and did this is how that thing made me feel. But
Mm,
I also know that you are very, very good at changing these things. So I know that you are going to get better. Just something like that. Because you understand that this is this person's way of communicating. So it gives you almost a different perspective when you're coming to that person with criticism. And you know what? Sometimes you might not even be in the mood to do the sandwich, right?
mm.
You might air and just give it
Just
to
gonna
them.
drop it. Yeah.
But because you recognize that this is who this person is, your reminder to make a repair will be higher, because I know that this thing would have gotten to this person in a different way. So you're more inspired to make an effort to repair, to say, I know that the way I told you this thing, you may have not liked it. This is what I was
Yeah.
trying to communicate. So you will make more repair efforts because you understand that that's the person's love language.
Mm.
So for
That is.
me, I believe that in marriages, people can start with understanding each other's love languages. And I'm telling you, that goes a very, very long way in helping couples communicate with each other.
That is amazing. Now, I read in the scripture that says, "Money answer all things."
Mhm.
Money is a defense, and someone said, "Money is every woman's love language." True or false?
Um, it's hard for me to answer that question, because I can say for sure that money is not every woman's love language. Not
Hmm.
every woman. Because again, you always have outliers in any situation, right?
Yeah.
We can't really make generalizations and say this is what this is all the time. But I would say that a lot of women that I have come across, in fact, a couple that I spoke to, I think it was just last week, the woman was very clear. She said it. She said, me, you want to say you love me, you put 5,000 in my account, I'm
Wow.
good to go. But again, you see, this is why you need to communicate with the person.
Mm.
But another thing that I have found is that, especially from the Nigerian perspective, a lot of women who say that money is their love language, when they finally marry someone who's rich and that person gives them everything when it comes to money, they begin to find that money is not their love language now that they have
You have
it.
the money. Hmm.
Because the origins for the need of that money came from a need to survive. Based on maybe their background, based on their history, it's like, I need to have this money. I need to survive. I need to buy the nice stuff. And then all of a sudden, when they get the nice stuff, it's like, okay,
What
I
else?
don't think that that's my love language anymore. I have seen a lot of cases like that. So a lot of people who are in rich homes, they have all the money now, and they're thinking, oh no, I think acts of service is actually my love language. I think
Hmm.
words of affirmation is actually my love language. So
Hmm.
things like that. So I wouldn't say that money is a love language for every woman. No, I wouldn't say that. And interestingly, I think societal conditioning is huge in this, because I've realized that there are many men that when women give them money, or when anybody gives them money, they're happy. They
Hmm.
feel loved too. I
Yeah.
mean, when I was growing up as a young boy, when my uncles come give you money, give you some gifts here and there, it made you. Some of us even thought that those uncles loved us more than our own parents.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that for many people, whether it's man or woman, it could be a love language for men or women. So yeah.
That is amazing. According to someone on Instagram by name, it's dot dim. I said, I absolutely agree. Receiving gifts slash money as a love language cannot
Does not
stand
come
alone.
true.
That means, yeah, money is part of it, but there must be something more, not
Right,
just giving me gift and, because a lot of times, from the society perspective, the man has gone out, messed up, and then is coming back home with some goodies just to appeal that, okay, sorry. And in some cases it works, in some cases it backfires.
right,
So
right,
while you were talking, you said something about sitting down to discuss and to talk. Now, can you walk us through a practical steps into sitting down to have this conversation? For me, I, because of my uh sanguine character, the temperamental, sanguine, melancholy, phlegmatic,
right,
and all that.
right, right.
I'm not that kind of person that likes, okay, like I heard stories that, okay, the wife will wake the husband 3 a.m. Let's talk. I'm not that kind of person. That, okay, now, I have so much in my mind and we need to talk. So she's gonna watch when it's 4 a.m. The whole house is sleeping. Just, okay, stand up, let's talk. No, for me, my wife knows. Let's. I don't have to take. That's me personally. That I don't have to sit down in a very quiet place in a very sanctimonious way. Now let's talk.
Right.
Let's have the conversation as life goes on. So how do you? What are the practical steps? Because we all have different ways in which we approach things. What are
Right,
the practical steps in, like, establishing that platform to talk or to discuss?
right,
Because I know there are a lot of men or women out there that they don't like that sanctimonious approach to,
the
it's like you've
conversation.
done something bad, and
Right,
that, yeah, 4 a.m. now let's
right,
talk. And
right, right,
what wrong,
right,
what is wrong with talking during the day,
right.
during when you're outside driving or you're eating or something?
You know, it's funny. As I'm hearing you say that, I'm going to ask you a question, and you can tell me, you can answer me if you're comfortable. You see, when we talk about conditioning, this is one of the things I'm talking about. As I was hearing you speak, I can
Someone is
almost.
saying that you are echoing.
I am.
Yeah, I just, it's someone from the Instagram said, okay,
So
you are
who
echoing.
is echoing? Is it me or him? I think it's you. I
Uh,
don't think it's me, because you were the one talking.
Dima, it's dot Dima. Oh, it's echoing, please, because my phone is reduced.
Aha, it's you who is echoing. Because what I did was I connected my headphones to my so your phone might also be adding to the audio on Instagram. The audio on the laptop might be adding to the audio on Instagram.
Oh, oh, okay. He said I'm the one echoing.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I've done everything. Like, my headphone is perfect. Everything is perfect, and my phone is just at the zero level. Let me see how I can reduce the volume completely.
Or if you
Okay.
have another set of headphones, you can connect it to the phone.
Okay. Oh, my iPhone is not close by. It's not close by. Oh,
Is it
what can
better
I
now,
do?
guys?
No, I think they're still hearing some echo.
Hmm.
Let me see how. Where can I? Don't have a earphone close by. Okay, let me just check. Hold
Okay,
on. Hold on, please.
we're on standby. Should I be entertaining you guys with music?
Okay, so I'm not sure if they're gonna be. I'm not sure if they're gonna be able to hear me again. I'm gonna
Let me-
plug in something. I'm gonna plug in. Okay, can you hear me?
So if you connect headphones to the phone now, the
Yeah.
phone you will just use the phone's speaker. I think it should stop.
Okay. Can you?
Use the
I hope you
headphones
guys are
mic.
hearing on both ends. Okay, please let me
Is
know if
it
you can
better
hear me on
now?
the phone as well on Instagram. I just want to be sure that people are hearing me because I know I'm like people are hearing me very well from the Facebook and YouTube, but
Yeah.
I know you're going to be hearing me as well. So I want to be sure if you're watching on Instagram, please let me know if you're hearing me on
And if
Instagram.
it's echoing.
I don't think I can't hear any echo again, but I want to be sure that people are hearing me from Instagram.
Guys, is it still echoing on Instagram?
Waiting for just a response.
See, the echo is still there.
Echo is still there. Wow,
Yeah, two people still the same.
wow, that is strange. Oh, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Do you have an earphone around you?
Let me try. Maybe it's
Okay.
actually from my end. Hold on.
If you have an earphone, just plug it to your laptop and then, sorry for the transmission, we'll be back shortly. We just want to make sure that we have
Yeah, I
everything.
just figured out it might actually be from my end.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm gonna try and fix this now.
Think it will be good. It should be good from now. We'll soon be back. We just want to be sure that yes, we sorted this echo thing out.
My Bluetooth headphones are not connecting for some reason.
Do you have a code? A code
Okay, wait. Let me try this.
that will just make the sound perfect once you connect the laptop automatically. Okay.
Can you?
Okay. I can hear you very well.
Yeah, but it's still. Oh, I think maybe because the live is. Oh, hold on. I think it's already audio. Let me see. Speaker.
Thank you for joining this conversation. Today, we're just trying to balance the sound because so that we can give you the best of production. We're trying to remove the echo from both ends.
So as I connected these headphones,
So if you connect to the laptop, I can hear you, but not on the. Have you connected to the laptop? Okay, someone said the echo is gone. I can hear you, but I think uh not on the laptop, but I can hear you through the phone. Can you hear my information? Can you hear me as well? Yes, I can hear you. But the guys, I'm sure if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, please let us know if you can hear
Yeah,
us.
everybody's saying it's
Oh yes,
better now.
yes, better. Yeah, it's better. I can hear you very well. Good. Sorry for the break
Jesus
in
Christ.
transmission. We're just trying to perfect this.
Yeah, because of the people that were hearing the echo, right? Yeah.
Thank you so much. It means so much to us that you're giving us the feedback, and we'll promise to improve better and better. So, we're talking about how to initiate a conversation about, okay, let's talk about things that are bothering us. And for me, like I was saying, I don't believe in that waking up middle of the night to talk, to have that sanctimonious. I'm talking, I'm on the phone, or I'm at home, I'm sitting down. If you're bothered, talk to me.
Right.
I don't like that special, call out session to
Right,
talk.
right, 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 right. So as you were saying that, I was saying that I wanted to ask you, is that how your father used to call you when your father or your mother when you did something wrong? Is that
Now,
how they used to call you to talk to you?
yeah, my dad, actually, my mom used to do that, but my dad is someone that he never cane us.
Right,
Contrary to the way African parents raise, my dad
right.
don't cane, doesn't all of that.
But he
But
calls you aside.
one thing is just gonna talk. There's some words like those words keeps ringing in my ear up till now. If I'm going to school, when I was in university, in fact, as a matter of fact, my dad never stepped into my school until I
Right,
graduated.
right,
All through my life.
right, right, right.
But if I'm home during the holidays, we just and I'm going back to school, one word, just one sentence, know what you're doing, and that's all. Once in a while, we
So
just say some few things, and then
so you can see why on your part it might almost feel as if that's what your wife is trying to do, and that might rub you off the wrong way because again she's not your father. Why
mhm,
are you trying to reenact this thing that my
yeah,
dad used to do? Now I'm an adult, I'm not a kid anymore, so why are you trying to talk to me this way? And you might not even be conscious of it, but that might be
mm,
one of the reasons why you don't like those quiet conversations. And your wife, on the other hand, we don't know what the history is, but it might be that the reason why she wants to have that quiet conversation is because she doesn't want the disturbance. She doesn't want you to be distracted, and she wants
you
you.
know what? One funny thing in their family, they grew up like father hugging them, kissing them. My
Right,
father's never hugged. What?
right, right,
Not even handshake. How?
right,
No,
right, right,
I'm not like that. But there,
right.
she's from that kind of environment that the father hugs and play with them and jump. My dad is coming. You're gonna go and jump. Jump what? Like, hey, dad is coming back. Hey, no, 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 no. Dad is coming. Everybody just maintain status quo.
Right, right. So you can see that this is a perfect example of what we're talking about. Two different histories, two different conditionings coming together. And one person likes to do things a certain way, and the other person likes to do things a certain way. And
Mm,
so you, on one hand, you're thinking to yourself, every time this person calls me for this conversation, to you, without even knowing what the conversation is about, your conditioning already tells you that I've done something bad. And it might not be that you've done something bad. Your
yeah.
conditioning already feels like you want to give me a lecture. You want to scold me. You want to chastise me. So you see that this already puts you in a defensive space.
Mm,
And that almost technically means that anything that she's going to say to you, you already have your walls up. So that
mm,
conversation is very likely that it's not going to go the way that she hoped.
mm,
And
mm,
the solution to that now is the question: what do we do?
yeah.
On her part, she could say, okay, now that I realize that this is where my husband is coming from, maybe I can have this conversation with him in a different space.
Mm,
On your part, you could say, this is actually my wife, this is not my father. This is actually my wife. This is not my mother. And maybe I can have these conversations with her in this quiet space. So my curiosity to your wife would be, why do you want to have these conversations in a quiet space? She might tell you things like, maybe whenever I'm talking to him when the kids are around, he gets distracted. Whenever I'm talking to him as life is going on, he's watching TV and I feel like he's not giving me his full attention. That might just be her own thing. Not that you're not listening to her. I'm not getting his 100% attention. That's why I wait for everybody to go to bed. That's why I wait for every all of those things to happen. So it might not necessarily be that, she's trying to maybe scold you or talk about something. It might just be a conversation about something she wants to share with you, but she just needs your 100% attention. So I would ask her, why do you like doing this thing in the night? And me too, if I were in her shoes, I would ask you, why is it that when I try to talk to you in the night, you don't like it? You see, both of you can then sit down and say, oh, this is the reason why I don't like this, and this is the reason why I like this. And I'm telling you, once you have that conversation, you can find compromise. It might be okay when we need to talk about things that are important. We don't need to wait for the night to come. We can go out and have coffee. We can go out and do this. There's so many ways for us to walk around these things and find, the first question was about bliss.
Yeah.
These are the little steps.
Yeah. Towards
that bring that towards. Yeah. Bedroom matters. How far?
Yeah, I see them. I see Oluwabumi Badijoko. I see it. I see Brown. Something I see.
Stop us talking
Lisa
street.
Jadin, Ajokeola, Alabarinekon. Thank you for joining this conversation. This is still the Global Academy series with our guest today, Dr. Sam, who are certified life and relationship coach. And our topic of discussion today is demystifying the taboo around family and marital counseling / therapy. And this is a part 2 of this discussion. Now, there's a question that came up, the last time we had this conversation, and it has to do with joint account between husband and wife. In the first place, in African context, I keep referring to African context because
we're African,
we're Africans, and
yes,
we need to address these issues because coming to the Western world, it's really causing a lot of problems in the home front. Generally, the man goes to work, the woman at home, homemaker or doing some business, and the man owns the big money, probably working and is the breadwinner. But on the flip side, things are changing. You have women working and earning more than the husband. I've heard in some places, I heard a story in Nigeria that the husband is not working, but the wife, or they were both working at a point in time. But at some point, the husband lost his job and the wife keeps bringing in the money. But the way they work is that all the money goes to the husband's account, and the husband determines, okay, what to do, how to spend. That can work in some places, but in a Western world, it might be challenging for those who have this traditional home style, home trading that I am the man, I'm the head of the house, I'm the final say, I'm the king, I'm the pastor, I'm the leader, I'm the bishop. So how do we address issue related money, joint account?
Larry, I'm so happy you brought this up because this is something that has been on my mind for a while. And I'll tell you why. Look, let's be honest. The African system of marriage, where the father went to work and the mother stayed home to take care of the kids and take care of the family, was a really good system. It was good. But I think, my personal opinion, I think that the men messed it up. And I'll tell you how. When the woman stays home, what is she doing? I had to sit down with a client the other day to calculate because she felt like she was useless from staying home. Because when the man is going out there and he's bringing money, it feels like he's the one, because the family needs that money to survive. It feels to him like I'm the one that is sustaining this family. And it almost devalues the woman's contribution to that family. So I had to sit down with her. She lives in the UK. I said, let's do it. Let's do the calculation. You cook. How much do you pay a cook? You've taken care of all your kids for the past 20 years. Let's calculate. If somebody had to watch your kids for 20 years, even if they were paying that person £10 an hour, that's not how much they pay babysitters. But if you
Oh,
were to pay a babysitter £10 per hour for 24 hours to watch your kids times 20 years, I think we're getting amount of like £5 million.
that is a
That
lot of
was
money.
just for one child. And I think
Wow.
she has like 3 children.
Wow.
Then we have not talked about cooking. If you wanted to hire a chef, we've not
Hmm.
talked about cleaning. We've not talked about laundry. We've not talked about so many things. Then you come home, she treats you like a king, serves you your food. I mean, this is almost restaurant
Five star.
grade service. But many of our men, I am sorry to say, they devalued the woman's contribution in this way.
Hmm.
And that led to a lot of African women who would have said, you know what, staying home is enough for me. But when I stay home to take care of my kids, to take care of my husband, to raise my kids, my husband does not appreciate it.
Wow.
Because if we saw the woman's contribution in monetary terms, why would the man come home and raise his leg on the couch and watch TV? She has been working all day. You have been working all day. When you come back home, you continue working together. You
There's no value.
continue contributing to the family together
Hmm.
because you have both been what? Working. Imagine if your wife was out there doing everything she's doing in your house for somebody else. They would have been paying her. As both of you
Yeah.
are coming into the house together, will you rest? No.
No. Gotta do something
You
to
will
do.
both continue because the family is not resting. The children still need food. The children still need a bath. But many of our fathers, as they come back, I'm so tired from work. I've been working a whole 8 hours. I drove in traffic. Your wife has not been folding her legs. It's the same stress that you have been going through. You left her at home with 2 kids, 3 kids. Look, my brother, I've taken care of kids, right? I remember one time I gave my wife, whether it's 2 days off, I didn't take a shower those 2 days. As you are feeding one child, that child is done. The next child is hungry. As you're feeding the other child, the other one has pooped. You change the diaper, the other one has pooped again. Then the other one throws up. You almost run mad.
Wow. It's a
The
lot of work.
problem is that our men did not recognize that contribution.
And will you
So,
blame them because they had a mentor in a father figure growing
right,
up and they look at that? Like someone said on Instagram that I grew up in a family where there is love all around me, but it's unfortunate that each man I've been dating, they lack that. And
yes,
it's really emotionally draining her.
yes. Her
So
love tank is not full because
yeah,
the man is not capable. He's not equipped. He doesn't have the tools to be able to do that, and that's the problem. And that's why I was telling you before we started this that my advice to every young woman who hasn't gotten married, because again, and I address this to young women for one reason, our men don't see the need for therapy. I have a lot of young girls now. When they want to get married, they bring those men because that's your best chance before you get married to him
yeah,
to say, I think we need this. And many of those men, when they come in, it's like, oh my goodness, I never knew this. I never knew that. Because for many of them, from their perspective, this woman is just being problematic. This woman she's just looking for trouble where there's no trouble. For many of these men, once I am providing for you financially, what again are you looking
it's
for?
okay.
It's like when
Just
you're asking for more, it's like you are trying to look for problem where there's no problem. And so I
hmm,
always advise these women before the marriage, before you join with him. And if you are already married, you still need to try and encourage your man because men need to understand if your relationship is working for you and it's not working for your wife, that means that relationship is not working because you're not the
yeah.
only person in it.
Hmm,
If your wife is saying, look, let's work together, and you are saying, I don't see the need, remember that it's not just about you.
hmm,
It's
hmm.
about how she sees it too. And you need to get to the point, because look, if you were employed by a company and you thought the company should be paying you £5,000 every month, and the company said no, it's £4,000, there's no compromise.
Yeah.
For both of you to come into a working relationship, either they have to increase the salary to what you want, or you have to accept what they want. As long as both of you are saying, no, this is not going to work, it's never going to work. So you can sit on your own and say, it's £5,000 me I want to. If I don't get £5,000, I'm not going to work. Then that means there's no relationship. And so both of you can live in that house as roommates, as housemates, but that relationship will be absent. So to answer your question, because what you were asking
Joint
was
account.
joint account, exactly. Yes. That was where this was going. If you remember the way you put it, you said the man is working and he makes all this money and it's like he has more money than the wife. But do you see where the problem lies? If he saw his wife's contribution to the family, who then, yes, who then will we say has the money that the man is making? It will be for both of them.
Yeah.
Because your wife is staying at the home front and fighting the family battles from that end. Why then do you see the money? You know, it's like two ways that you can treat your wife. You can treat her as what we like to call the son of the soil, or you can treat her as an employee. And that's what many men are doing. They treat that woman as an employee. So they give her stipends from the money that they are making. As opposed to, as I go out to work, my wife is staying home to work. So we are both coming together. So you see that in a family system, both of you already have a joint account. That contribution that she is making, if you had to pay for it,
yeah,
it is coming out of the family money, and your wife is staying home to save it for you, to save it for the family. She's a team player, just like you are a team player. So why do many men feel that that money belongs to them? Because they see their wives as an employee. I am technically paying you to do these things. And again, you know, many things feed into this. Men are paying bride price. And sometimes I ask myself, what is the point of this? They say it's culture, it's tradition. But I'm asking, what is the goal? Why are we doing it?
Who started bride price?
Who started it? You know, where did it come from? Because these are the conversations that we're trying to have. That there are men, not a fault of theirs. They sit in their marriages and their relationships and they see their wives as employees. You will see a man, he will tell you, my mother comes first or my children come first. No value whatsoever for his wife, for his partner, for his team player. The person who is staying home to give him the launch foundation for him to go out there and do whatever it is that he wants. Does he understand that value? So if a man gets to understand that, then of course the conversation around joint accounts becomes a very different conversation altogether. It doesn't matter if I have my own account and you have your account. I don't know how different couples want to run that. But at the end of the day, do we understand that we are on a team?
Yeah, that is the key.
That's the key. Because I can have my own account and you can have your own account. But are we accountable to each other? You know, we can have a company where you have maybe sometimes I give you your budget for the month. I say your budget is 50 million. And in the main company account, we have 150 million. But we both still understand that 50 million in your own and the 100 in my own is our company money.
Yeah.
Even though we have different amounts. So if I get to use that 50 million to do something for the family, I can come to you and say, look, this is what I did for the family. We need something else to do something else. And we will both sit down and vet that decision together based on the needs of our team, not based on somebody's selfish needs. And this conversation also leads to something I tell people, like, oh, sometimes I remember, before I got married, I used to give money to my mom. And then when I got married, I had to sit her down and I said, Mommy, look, the money I used to give you before, that would have to stop.
Wow.
Because now I have 2 mothers and 2 fathers. Now you have to understand, the logic behind that was not because I really think I have 2 mothers and 2 fathers. The logic behind that is I am now on a team. And everything that I make belongs to that team. I cannot take 5 naira and give to my mom as if my mom is the most valuable on our team, when my wife is a member of that team and her mother is also valuable to her.
So how do you balance that?
You balance it out. So the balance that I have is to say that, me personally, if we're giving something out of the excess that we have, it has to be given to both mothers or both fathers or both families.
Yeah.
But obviously, if there's a need in one team, in one half of that team, so my mother has a need, or my wife's mom has a need, or my wife's dad has a need, or my own father has a need, we come together as a team and solve that need based on the needs of our own team. What do I mean? If we have only 5 naira or $5 to do something for our team, and my mother needs $5, when we sit down as a team and have that conversation, we can decide to give her $2 out of it, because we have somehow worked out that we can manage 3 as a team. But I'm not going to sit down on my own and say, because my mother needs $5, I will now take that $5 and give to her because it's my money, at the detriment
of your own team.
Of my own team. You see, team. But that's where the problem is. Many people don't see marriage as that team spirit. Many people don't see that union, to see that we are together. It's you and me, and we're doing this life together. And you are my support and I am your support, and everything that you do will affect me. Everything that I do will affect you. This is the whole reorientation that we are trying to introduce into the African idea of now, what marriage looks like.
Good. On the flip side, what will you say to this statement that I'm a man, my money is our money, but you're a woman, your money is your money? That I'm a man, my money is our team's money, but the woman, your money is your money. Because I've had that, from a pastor. I'll say that.
I have heard women say that.
Yeah, too. That your money is our money, my money is my money. Yes. So how do you address that kind of situation?
So again, we have to ask ourselves, where is that idea coming from? Because under what circumstance are we making those assertions? If the woman is making 5 million and the man is making 100 naira, how does that make any sense? So is the family going to be living on that 100? Because whatever it is that we are doing, we want it to be sustainable for the team.
Yeah.
Why would a woman have money and her family, her team, has needs, and she's leaving it to the man to do? That's simply culture.
Yeah.
But let's think about it. If that was really your team, if you really recognize that was your team, that's like a footballer standing, a defender standing in front of the goal to score goal and say, I will not score because now striker walk to score. Why should I score?
They're going to lose.
Like, who understand that? Who would that make sense to? Or a midfielder, or no, a striker say, I will not pass. It's only midfielders that pass. Like, when we think about these things, if we really consider our marriages to be a team environment, where do all these things come from? So you can see that The structure around which we lay the foundation for our marriages is what determines a lot of these conversations that we have. Whenever couples come before me and they begin to say, I do this, he handles the this, he handles the this, that's where I want to go to. I want to go down to the structure. Because if it was working for you guys, you will not complain about it.
Yeah.
If it was good, if there's any system that you're practicing and the man is okay with it and the woman is okay with it, we're not even going to have a conversation about it. But if somebody is not okay, if somebody is only keeping quiet because they think it is their place to keep quiet, if somebody is only keeping quiet because they are afraid of quarrel, afraid of fight, if somebody is only keeping quiet because
don't want any trouble in the marriage,
I don't want any trouble in this marriage, I don't want my in-laws to vex with me, I don't want anybody. If somebody is only keeping quiet out of fear, then there's still a problem. And that's why sometimes I still have couples, they shock each other. You have been having this thing in your mind for 5 years and you didn't tell me. Say, I didn't want to say it. I didn't know how you would take it. I didn't know what it would feel like for you. That's why I kept it to myself.
That is amazing. That is wonderful. Now, talking about, taking it to another level. Someone asked a question the other time that we didn't get time to address on the issue of open marriage versus entanglement. Now, see, in this world, we are learning so many things, during this COVID-19, some words are popping up from left, right, and center. And I don't understand, what is open marriage? What is entanglement? Because I don't know, if you're married, what is the aspect that has to be open? That, okay, this area, is open. This is off limits.
Right.
And this is entanglement. From your own therapy experience. Shed more light.
Okay. This is really good. Again, I think that this has to do with our definition of marriage. When we started this conversation, I told you about the woman that said she just wants a name. That woman was technically asking for an open marriage.
Wow.
She said, the man can do whatever he wants. I don't care.
That means she actually wanted to do whatever she likes.
She too wanted to do whatever she likes.
So just put it to the man.
So she was finding somebody who can give her his name, and both of them can go ahead and do whatever it is that they like. Now, there's something that we all have to understand. We all have our beliefs and our cultures that tell us right from wrong. For many of us who are Christians, the Bible defines Christianity, or it defines a Christian marriage in a certain way. For the Buddhist, the marriage is a certain way. For the Muslim, the marriage is a certain way. Will we call a Muslim marriage where the man has 7 wives, is that an open marriage? Do we call a marriage where a man and a woman are together, but the conversation we just had, the man says, my money is my money, he does what he wants with it, is that a financially open marriage?
Technically, no.
So you see, what is the definition of marriage? This is what I cannot define for anybody except for myself. Because when 2 people come together, this is what I find all the time. We come into marriage and we have different definitions of it, and this is what always causes problems. I had a couple once, the man got into that marriage and he told his wife, he said, I cannot promise you I will never cheat.
Wow. From the beginning.
From the beginning. Please, Lanre, tell me, is that an open marriage?
That is open, completely involved.
But do you see?
No door.
But to him, that openness only is for him.
Not the wife.
Not the wife. So what is that? One way open marriage.
Selfishness.
One way open. No exit on the other side. So you see that all these things are complicated, right? And this is why, for that question, I would really tell people to say, that question comes from what we are seeing other people do in their marriages. That question comes from what we are seeing some celebrities and some personalities out there doing in their marriages. But hey, you are not married to those people. If you were married to those people, then we will be having that conversation.
Mm.
What you want to do is sit down and ask yourself, what does marriage mean to me? What is my expectation? What do I want from a marriage relationship? You see, me personally, when I got married, I wanted a marriage that was completely closed, no loophole, complete partnership, complete in every aspect. A completely open marriage, a completely accountable marriage. If I spend $3 today and my wife asks me, I give account. It doesn't matter because my thing has now become her thing
Mm.
because we are now on a team. But that's me. And the person that I married has to be on the same page with me. If she was not on the same page with me, we will not be here today.
Mm.
And another thing around that conversation is, this is a whole new topic entirely, but when you are together with someone for 10, 20, 30 years, people grow and evolve.
Yeah.
As you are changing, your definition of marriage too can change.
Mm-hmm.
Now, our hope and our prayer is that as we are changing in the marriage, we'll be changing with that. You see, and this is what I like about when we talk about soulmates. Your hope is that as you're growing with that human being, you would actually be growing into one.
Mm.
One of the examples I use, and I think maybe I've used it with you before. If my wife says this thing, the way they pronounce it is Lanre, I say no, it's Lanre. Say no, Lanre, we'll be arguing. Say, okay, do you know what? Let's ask Google. We type. Google tells us. Now, we both have the same definition of that one thing. In that pronunciation of Lanre, we both have the same thing in our head. As couples grow together, if that communication and relationship exists, you will realize that in 10, 20, 30 years, instead of growing apart in different directions,
Together.
they will carry each other along.
Mm.
So, most of your experiences will actually be my experiences. And even when both of us have the same experience and we come out with different explanations of it, we will still have a conversation about that experience and learn what the other person learned and still get to have a holistic view of it.
Yeah.
So I might have seen something as purple. You might have seen it as blue. Then both of us might look, and after we argue and argue, we might be like, wait, oh, is it not this color that they call turquoise blue? It's like,
Yeah. Uh,
it's true. Now both of us have a more holistic view of that. Your view and my view have been combined together. And as we are growing old, we are growing together. So we are evolving, but we are evolving together.
mm.
So a part that you now have towards that is when that relationship is absent, you have these two people who are growing apart. So they are living two separate lives. And their definitions change. So you can actually have two people who got into a marriage and it was closed before. Then all of a sudden, one person says open, they want now. Or you can have two people who got into the marriage and they both said they wanted open, but now another person has seen some things and read some things, and now they say it's closed, they want, and all those kind of things. And then you might now begin to have issues in the marriage.
Still all that thought, because of the few technical issues we had, we almost like 1 hour.
All
So
right.
if you're okay, we can continue.
Okay.
And that means to our Instagram viewers, on the dot of 1 hour, Instagram is going to cut off, and then we're going to coming back into Instagram to continue this conversation. So we have about 2 minutes more to end the conversation on Instagram, but we're still live on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll connect back on Instagram so you can still join the conversation. Now, while you were talking the other time, uh, the fact that in this day and age, we cannot, we have celebrities all around.
Mm.
We have Hollywood. We have this media that is constantly bombarding our face, doing this and doing that. And in as much as we have this culture from, like, Africa, Asia, all those places where we have this strong cultural backgrounds, our lives have been bombarded every day by influential people all around the world. And whether we like it or not, is let me just quickly switch back to Instagram so we can continue. Okay, so we're going back on Instagram. So the question is, we're back on Instagrams for all those who are joining us, so we can connect back to Instagram. Let me just try and send you an invitation. All right, okay. All right, so we're back on Instagram. So I was saying that whether we like it or not, we have influences from, you know, social media celebrities. And mind you, not every individuals have this cultural background. Even some with cultural backgrounds that, they're like our children now that we're giving birth to here, they might not really have that home kind of cultural ideologies
Right.
like we grew up with. And you can't influence or change. Okay, like I don't grow up with animals. We don't keep dogs and all of that. I see them on the streets and on the farm. But my son loves dog and cats. And like, what? I can My son is saying, what, I'm gonna have a car, I'm gonna have dog. And my wife said, no way. In my house, we are not against animals, but we didn't just grow up like that.
That's right. That's
We
right.
don't
That's
have dog at
right.
home.
That's right.
At best, we see them on the streets. Now, my son has that mindset that, what, I'm going to have dogs, I'm going to have cats, I'm going to do this or that. That is a new way of thinking for him.
Right.
He
Right.
loves that.
Right.
Now, we individuals that they don't have this kind of cultural ideologies, but their lives are constantly being influenced by celebrities. And that is why I wanted to address the issue because they see them as uh, quote unquote some kind of directional sign to what they need to do. And that is why the issue of this entanglement, address it, especially in cases where we have individuals with affiliation whatsoever. How can they have can you hear me?
Yeah, your voice was breaking up for a bit.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay.
So how do we address that kind of issue?
So we are entities that live in an environment, and obviously, in fact, there's a saying that all behavior is communication. And that essentially means that everything that you find an individual doing in their environment is in communication to the environment. So that's either you telling the environment something or replying to something that the environment has said to you. That's very, very important. For someone who has a celebrity as a mentor, why would anybody have a celebrity as a mentor? Is because you admire their life. When you're acting the way that celebrity is acting, you're essentially telling your environment, this is how I want my life to be. I want to be like this person. I want to do the things that they're doing because I want to be like them. I want my life to mirror theirs. The question for every individual in the environment should be, do I actually have a life that I want to live? Or
Yeah,
do I have a life that I want to be exactly like this person's own? Because if we're being honest, we are all unique.
yeah.
If you end up mirroring another person's life, what does that make you? This is the same
Copycat, I said.
conversation around culture, is the same conversation around religion, is the same conversation around traditions, is the same conversation all around. Your environment is doing its best every single day to tell you what to do. What is your response? When you respond to your environment, are you responding based on who you want to be or on who your environment is telling you to be? There are many people who have gone into fraud today in response to their environment. Is that your desire to be a fraudster? Or are you going to let your environment dictate to you who you're going to be? Is that the life that you want, that you desire for yourself? And so for me, the key thing here for everyone is mindfulness. And again, another different conversation. Many of us were not raised
Yeah.
to be mindful. Many of us are just like robots that are living in the environment. We basically do things just because.
Mm.
Sometimes I ask people, say, why do you think you did that? I don't like that's what I was supposed to do. Who told you that? When you dig deep and dig deep, you realize that many people do things without even realizing why they're doing it.
Mm. That's true.
So, who are you? Are you gonna take charge of your life and decide where you want to go? So, this is not a conversation around don't have role models. This is a
Yeah.
conversation around consciously have role models. So that means that even when you are modeling someone else's life, because again, there are some things that you might not know how to do that you will need someone to show you how.
Yeah.
But when you are modeling that person's environment, does it align with what you want for your life? Because the difference between being robotic and being mindful is that you see so many people, they keep doing the same thing over and over and over, and it's not working for them, but they don't change it because they are not mindful. They are not conscious of the results.
Mm.
All they know is I just need to keep doing this. Is what that person is doing. They just keep doing it, but it's not working for you. And you have not been able to pay attention. Because if you were mindful, you could have said, I tried this thing the other time, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to tweak it to suit me. Maybe I need to change some parts of this to fit my personality, to fit my environment, to fit who I am trying to be. But for many of us, we're just robotic. So for
Mm.
me, the key is mindfulness. Your
Mm.
environment is all around you. The other day I went online on my Instagram, I just unfollowed some people because the posts that some people make were not in line
Mm.
with the values that I hold in my life. I don't have anything against them.
Mm.
I can call you on the phone. I can, an example of that I gave to someone. This pastor in Nigeria, I don't know if I told you this. This pastor in Nigeria, he has been doing a lot of things. I actually know someone who this person abused.
Wow.
And I have a friend. She attends the church and she told me she doesn't believe it. I said, fine. But I realized that every time that I went online on my Instagram, she's posting things about the guy.
Wow.
It was affecting me mentally and emotionally. It was upsetting. So I called her on the phone. I said, I just unfollowed you, just so you know.
Wow. You're
Because
even nice
Oh,
to even call.
because we're friends, right? We're friends.
Yeah.
So I called her. I said, look, I just unfollowed you on Instagram. And this is why, this is why. And we had a really good conversation about it. And she said, you know what? I understand where you're coming from. And in fact, she was able to actually give me a very different perspective.
Mm.
If you speak to Abacha's daughter, they would have had a very different experience of him.
Mm.
He might have been the person who will go home, be loving, be kind, be gentle with his children, and then when he comes out there, does a completely different thing. There are many people like that. I'm not going to judge you for the experience that you've had with someone,
Yeah.
but I am allowed to protect myself.
Mm.
So it's being conscious of what you are taking in and what you are modeling and
Mm.
what you are receiving. Be mindful of that so
Okay.
that you will be the person that when all the information is coming to you, you are an active participant in what you are absorbing,
That's amazing. Cool.
not an unconscious person. So that's how you not be that person that today you be like, man, I want to be an astronaut. Tomorrow, and we know people like that. They keep jumping. Today, if you tell them this business is booming, that's the business they want to do.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, if you tell them this one is that's the one, it's just like anywhere that it's just like that's what I want to do.
They're not
They're not
stable.
conscious, they're not stable, they don't have a
Mm,
direction.
mm,
So there's nothing wrong with having models, there's nothing wrong with following celebrities, but be an active absorber of whatever it is that you are taking in.
mm,
Make sure that it is aligned
mm, mm,
with
mm.
what you want for your life. That's
That
what I
is
would say.
amazing. Still on the Global Talkative series with Dr. Sam Miwa, certified life and relationship coach. And our topic of today is demystifying the taboo around family and marital counseling start therapy, part two. Now, still talking about influences from external forces or role models around. A lady asked a question that I'm tired of, living in, the question has to do with living lovers. That okay, in the Western world, it's a common thing. Okay, we're moving together, we're living together, and they're moving together after like 1 year. They like, they get tired of himself and they move out. Each one person, okay, leave the house, maybe the man or the lady, and the next thing they move to the next person. And the guy said, you know what, I'm kind of tired that what else? In the process, some get pregnant, you know, and there's nothing, making them, there's no connection in terms of marriage or something doing of making it official. Now, how do we address this issue? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Because I can imagine I'm living with someone, we're not married, we're not nothing, and we're doing everything that has to do with marriage. You're already doing it. So, and then the next thing, the guy or the lady say, you know what, I'm tired. I'm seeing someone else. I just met someone. What form of accountability do we have? Because we're like living together. The next thing you said, you know what, I met someone. You met someone, and then what happened? You fell in love again. At what point do we put an end? How can we put out? How do we address this issue? Because the
Okay,
person was like, you know
okay.
what, I'm tired. My heart has been broken time and time again. So is it a
Right,
good thing or a bad thing?
right,
Should we encourage it or discourage it? Because I know in the African context, it's like a taboo. You don't do that. You don't
right,
want to, like, leave your father's house or mother's house
right,
before marriage. But in
right,
the Western world, we have individuals doing that, and
right,
they're getting heartbroken every day.
right, right, right. Okay. First of all, I want to say hi to Wumi and Chizoba, and I know Ada is here, and Nora, and I am Kevon, Wendy, Shindara. Hi guys, thanks for joining. Okay, Larry, this is such an amazing question. I'm gonna give a controversial answer.
Hmm.
Let me ask you this, and please, I want your honest response. If we went, you and I now, we entered Nigeria today, and we said any marriage that anybody does not want to do anymore, we just got word from heaven that divorce is now okay, it's no longer a sin, you have nothing to fear. If you know that the relationship you are in today now, you are not happy in it, you are free to go. How many marriages do you think will remain?
Plenty.
You
In
think so?
fact, a pastor once said to me that if Baba God allows polygamy, I'll be the first to have several. I had a pastor once said that. But because it is against the Bible that he's reading, that is why he's keeping himself to one woman.
So you can see that many people are in relationships today because of fear. Fear of going to hell, fear of what people will say,
Yeah.
fear of what is going to happen to them, basically fear. And Larry, let me be honest with you. there can never be love where there's fear.
Yeah.
You just have to understand that fact.
Yeah.
I'm not, if you are afraid, and that is why I have seen so many marriages that have been together for so many years, and there is not a single drop of love in that place. Because both partners are together for one reason or the other. I've heard so many women, I would have left your father 20 years ago if not for my kids.
Hmm.
I would have left if not for God. It's just that the Bible says it's a sin. So we are indirectly admitting that we are in marriages where there is no love. But instead, it is a functional environment where two people are together because they are afraid to leave. And when I look at that from a psychological perspective, from a mental health perspective, that breaks my heart. Because I am aware that nobody who is in that space can thrive mentally and emotionally.
That's right.
So, the alternative for me would be to say, people should only be in relationships that they want to be in, because love is a choice.
It's not by force.
If it's not by force, if you, no, it's not that, how do I put this? If you force it, it's not love. Do you
Yeah.
understand? Like, it's not that I can force myself to, like, you can't force. If it's forced, it's not love. And let me tell you something so interesting. I always ask Christians this question. I said, God could have made all of us Christians by force if he wanted to. Why did he give people choice? Why is it okay for somebody to be born again this minute, then they will just go, just do one, commit one sin, come back again and born again, do like this? Why did God give people that option?
Hmm.
Because the understanding from a Bible perspective is that if you don't come of your own free will,
Yeah.
it's not love. He's not going to feel it. But many of our marriages are built around that today. So to answer your question, I think that the reason why we have a lot of broken relationships today, where people stay 1 month, 2 months, or whatever amount of time that they stay together, I think that the reason we have that is because many people get attracted to partners when they haven't found themselves and when they haven't healed from the trauma that they brought from childhood. Now, when you get into a relationship that is a trauma bond, you were attracted to that person because they reminded you of your trauma. Of course, when you get into that relationship, your trauma is going to repeat itself.
Yeah.
And once it
Okay.
repeats itself, you will want to run away again.
Yeah.
If you got into a relationship when you have not found yourself, when you get into that relationship, you will begin to realize that this isn't where I need to be. This isn't where I want to be. So the choice for us as a society is to say, do we want marriages that are quote and unquote stable, as we have so many today in Nigeria where we are from, where the institution is intact, but the marriage on the inside is completely shattered and broken. So our duty as a society is to ask ourselves if we want to live honestly, if we truly want to be honest with where we are at. Because the problem that we currently have is that our engine has a problem and we have not faced it. We are saying it is the brake lights. We are saying it is the oil. We are saying it's the AC. We are naming it so many different things and we have not faced the problem. Because if many of those relationships that are pretending to be together were broken up today, they will actually have a chance at coming together and making that relationship true.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
would have a better chance at coming together and having two people who want to be together. So, what you are seeing in the Western world is people who have choice and can live their choice. The same thing, the same observation of broken marriages in the Western world, broken religious relationships in the Western world, it is still the same in Nigeria. It is still the same in these cultural societies, but they are not living their truth.
Mm.
Many of those men are cheating. Many of those women are cheating. The relationship is broken. The children know it. They know mommy and daddy don't love each other. They know mommy and daddy don't like each other. They know that mommy and daddy would leave each other if they had the opportunity to. If you ask daddy, where do you want to be? Daddy wants to be in Lagos and mommy is in Abuja. Daddy, they don't want to be together. But we keep lying to ourselves that those
Mm.
relationships are still together because we think that the institution of marriage is what is to be worshipped.
Mm. Mm.
But I'm telling you, abroad, anywhere you go, if the only difference you will find is that when people are able to live their truth, that
Mm.
is when you see these breakups happening very, very often. But once people get married, that fear, divorcee. Do you know how many people are afraid of that?
Yeah.
Single mom. Do you know how many people are afraid of that?
Probably what.
So they stay in fear. So my thing is, if we can be honest with each other, if our marriage is broken and we can both sit down as a couple and say, look, this isn't working, let's seek help. Let's go for therapy. Let's go for
Mm.
counseling. Let's
Mm.
work on it and fix it. Because if we realize that our relationship will soon break up and we'll soon go our separate ways, if we truly want to be together, we will seek help.
To make it work.
So again, you cannot, my point is, you cannot break two people who want to be together. You see, if you find two people who want to be together, you cannot break them up because they will find a way.
To make it work.
Yes.
Hmm. Now, still talking about that, I'm not a person that push for divorce or kind of separation. But I heard, a man was talking, or a pastor was talking sometimes, which has to do with domestic violence. That okay, as a therapy, as a coach, as a counselor, what we advise, and this goes both ways. A man can be abused, violence, and the woman can be abused or violence at the same time.
Yeah.
What will you say? At what point do you step up that relationship? Whether you're married or you're just still like dating, at what point do you get out? Because someone is getting injured, someone is getting beaten, someone is getting, discouraged, spoken word, spoken against, all of that, abused in all forms, way unimaginable.
Right. I want to be very clear. If a couple came to me today and one person was being abused, I have no qualms whatsoever with telling the person who's being abused to leave that environment immediately.
Mm.
This is not a conversation about divorce. This
Yeah.
is a conversation about leaving that environment immediately. People have to understand there's physical abuse, there's verbal abuse,
Yeah.
there's mental abuse, there's emotional abuse,
Yeah.
there's financial abuse. There's so many forms of abuse, and none of them is okay. Now, does this mean that we're trying to blame or accuse the abuser? No. The abuser is also dealing with his own issues or her own issues.
Mm.
They're also trying to survive. But again, this is what we talked about. We want to live a lie. We want to cover up. We don't want to deal with the issue.
Mm.
What is wrong if a woman is abusing a man and that man walks away from that relationship and he tells that abuser, he says, look, you are abusing me. I need you to seek help. I love
Mm.
you. I want to be with you, but you have
But
to work on this. I'm not running away from you. But I don't know. Some of us just choose to remain in that situation and hope that it disappears. When you are actually giving back the reinforcement, the feedback that abusing you is okay.
Yeah.
If you walk away from abuse, that does not mean that you're ending your marriage. It doesn't mean that you're ending your relationship. You are simply
Mm.
telling the person to seek help.
Yeah.
You are holding the person accountable for their behavior. We don't take abuse at work.
Mm.
We don't take abuse in our offices. We take abuse so much in our homes. It's amazing. I was reading a book today, and they were saying that whether one out of every four child in the United States has been sexually molested by a family member.
Wow.
And many times the other spouse is aware and covers it up.
Mm.
In the US recently, there was a top official in the army that his daughter at 42 reported that she was being abused by him
Wow.
when she was 6 years old, and the mother was aware.
That's terrible. Mm.
So we choose to cover it up. We're not saying throw the human being away unless that person does not want to seek help, because there is the help is out there. If you love that person, the best thing you can do for them, because the reason they are abusive, it's also communication. They too, they were abused in some form. They too, they were traumatized in some form. So
Mm.
when you hold them accountable, it is the purest form of love that you can give to them,
Mm. Mm.
not covering it up. Tell them, I love you. Sit them down. I love you. But this is damaging to me. This is damaging to the kids. This is damaging to everyone around us. And we need you to rise up and take responsibility for your behavior. Please seek the appropriate help. And please, the help is not prayer. Please.
That is another major issue because
The
we
help.
tend to over spiritualize every challenges. Whether you have issue with giving birth on time in a marriage, pressures, start thinking this way, or whether you are dating and you couldn't get a man to marry, within the spiritual, issues. Whether you're in a marriage and then we over spiritualize things, and then we're wondering, is God not answering our prayer, or like I said the last time, a man of God I had said, God gives you brain so that you can give him rest.
Right,
Because at some point you need to think, be
right,
mindful, like, is this working or not?
right,
It has
right.
been said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expect to get a different result.
Result.
You can't plan. It was Archbishop Benson that said a lizard cannot turn to a crocodile. A lizard in Nigeria cannot turn to a crocodile in America.
Right.
It's true. So we have this issue that we tend to put everything in a spiritual bubble, that okay, maybe someone is behind it, or someone is behind this, or someone is behind that.
Right.
And I sometimes I remember before I got married, I was dating someone, and then at some point she called it quit, and then for no reason, in fact, she sent me a text that she's not feeling it. At first, I didn't know I was being tested. I had no experience. She asked me to write the vision of my life. She gave me a notebook
Hmm.
to write the vision of my life. So I thought, okay, why not start writing? Not knowing that I'm using my hand to do myself. I'm writing, I'm writing.
Right.
So when I gave out the book, she said, I can't see myself in this. I
Hmm.
can't see myself. I was like, okay, what do you mean? I can't see myself.
Wow.
I can't see myself in this. That was the first thing. And then followed by a text message that, what, this cannot work and blah, 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 like that.
Wow.
So, well, what will I do? My life continues. I have that.
Wow.
I move forward. Fast forward, she got married, and then years after, uh, this is like about like 7, 8, 9 years after, I got a call from someone, and lo and behold, she said, she wanted to ask me to forgive her blah blah blah, because she was having issues with giving birth. Child delay. Child delay in getting. Having an issue in marriage, and I guess she said they asked her to come and beg me because the way I said beg me for what? Am I the one? Do I have a rope to tie?
You have forgotten about her totally.
Yes,
You have moved on with your life.
that
Can you imagine?
and she come and beg me that maybe I said no, no way. If I have to, this is a relationship whereby when I got the text from her, I called the mother, and the mother said to let you see how you know we over spiritualize things. I called the mother because I'm close to the mother and said, this and happened. The mother said to me in I'll try and say it in English that maybe my daughter's head is not cannot stay under a curse, that the environment of the that environment, that it's like a curse is being removed. I said, what? It's like literally it's like a curse is operating under my life, and that something happened that curse was removed. Oh, what will I say? My life goes on. So like years after, call that, oh sorry, I'm saying this to let people know that we tend to spiritualize everything.
And you can
There's
see that
nothing
she's still
wrong.
living under that mindset, which is the
Already, of
reason why
course.
she
I
called
don't
it
know what
time.
actually coincidentally or miraculously, some years after she, got pregnant and she gave birth. Now, to some people that would think that yes, maybe she actually there's a cause. But I don't believe in all of that, because I've seen some folks that they've been married for
But if you didn't curse her, how could she have been cursed?
yes. So and now she now give birth afterwards. Does that mean that I actually, and God is my witness, I'm saying this publicly, I never, I have
You
a
know,
pastor friend in
let me
England that got married for 17 years. They had no issue. This is a pastor, no issues. At 17th year, they started the process of adoption, and they were doing the process, and just about the point that they're going to get approval for the adoption, they were denied. And it was so painful. But as God will have it, the following year, they have a twin. They had the twins. So,
you know, I just I think that one of the reasons why one of the reasons why um science why it's sometimes really hard to combine science and spirituality or science and religion is that religion does not really allow people think.
it kind of oppose each other.
Yes, it puts people in a box. And you see, for me, my spirituality is moving to the point where it's a relationship that
Yeah.
you have with your maker and nothing else. You see, all those other stuff. Because if you look at what's happening right now, especially in Nigeria, where you're talking to a lot of quote and unquote men of God. This whole COVID-19 situation, people have been sick, people have been dying, and you're seeing a lot of pastors and spiritual leaders are coming out and saying people should still go to church. We have the power to heal people. You see, science demands that a pastor who makes that claim will walk into a hospital.
Yeah.
All patients that have been tested positive for COVID-19, they line them up
I start healing them.
and you start healing them one by one. That's what science demands. Because you study, they tell you psychoanalysis works. Say, oh, how do you know it works? It works this way on depression. Okay, let's go and get the depressed patients. Oh,
And try it out.
CBT works on depression. Get the people. They test it out. They get 68 random people who have depression. They try CBT on them. They come out on the other end. They fill a form at the first end that measures their symptoms. At the end of the intervention, they fill the form again, and you see that their depression has improved. Then science says this works. But unfortunately, and this is the problem, and that's why religion doesn't want people to think, because we like what I like to call anecdotal evidence. So you can see what you have said now. After she prayed, after she called you, now she has put to bed. To her mind, that is probably proof
That's
that as
something
she
else.
called you and something. But unfortunately, that's not how science works. Because if you want to say that that is what happened, then you have to rule out so many other possibilities, and we're not able to
Yeah.
do that. But anyways, that's a conversation that is outside our purview. But I guess what we're just trying to say to everyone listening is that abuse of any form
Mm.
is as a result of someone who is also suffering.
Yeah.
People who are abusing were abused. People who are abusers were traumatized. And
Mm.
the best form of love that you can give to an abuser is to hold them accountable for their behavior.
Mm.
You
Mm.
can't do this anymore. I love
Yeah.
you. I
But
love you.
gotta seek
But
help.
you need to go and look for help. And as
Mm.
you're looking for that help, I need to see concrete measures that you're taking
Yeah.
to see that you are changing and improving. And I will be with you. I mean, I love you. I don't, I sometimes it seems so easy. It's like, what's going on? But there's a lot of conversation around that. When some people are comfortable in abusive relationships because that's where they grew up in.
Mm.
Some people are comfortable. Some people, and let me describe this, if you grew up in a home where you were traumatized, you see, you had to adapt to that. You had to adapt.
Mm.
Once your nervous system adapted to that situation, that became your new normal.
Mm.
Now, anytime that your body sees abuse,
You automatically adjust to it.
that's your that's your
Environment to
that's
thrive.
your yes. It's not that you're thriving, is your
We are
place, is safety, is what your brain is
adjusted.
interpreting as
Mm.
that is your new normal. So other people might come into that space and say, hey, see how he's talking to you. See, don't you see situations like that? Why is your wife talking to you like that? Why is your husband talking to you so harsh? You don't adapt. It's now normal to you when you hear it. It's no, when I got married, my wife used to say, please don't raise your voice at me. That raise your
Wow.
voice is my natural. Oh. It's no be say we dey
No,
fight. Oh.
child. Oh God.
So, now I've gotten so conscious of it that sometimes I'll be talking to my mom. I remember one day I was talking to my mom. I said, mommy, sorry, I'm raising my voice. She said, were you raising your voice? She didn't even notice because that's how we talk normally. You
Yeah.
understand?
Now.
You get used to it. It
Mm.
becomes your so imagine if somebody's not talking to you in low voice, you'll be like, I'm not hearing you. Can you talk
What's
louder,
going on?
please? Can you
What's
talk
going
loud? Because you are used to shouting. So that's
on?
how abuse is for a lot of people. They've become safe.
Mm. Mm.
That's their new safety. And so for those people, they find it really difficult to get out. And that's why when they come to therapy, you tell them this is an abusive situation. Abuse is not something, because part of our work is social justice.
Mm.
Part of our work is fighting for people who cannot fight for themselves.
Yeah.
So again, and that's why a lot of people, they want to go to their pastors because their pastors never tell them leave an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
Their pastors will tell them, okay, let's pray about it. Okay, madam, try not to abuse. Okay, Oga, try not to abuse. But when it comes to us, abuse is something that we understand the effects. We understand because this thing will keep going on for generations. We need to
Mm.
put a stop to it. We
Yeah.
need to put an end to it.
Someone asked a question. I don't want to pose the question. It's saying that I know a guy that verbally abuses his wife.
Hmm.
Was given instances that they were in a public function, and the husband was saying, "I keep telling you, you are not responsible." To his wife, that what's wrong with you? How come you don't think? And this friend was saying, "How can?" And the wife is like used to that kind of a thing, like you were saying. But this friend is like, how can we help individuals in situations like that? Because the friend is a third party, but she sees things like that. many a times go into their house and see, "Ah, how come this man is talking to his wife like this?" Now, the husband and the wife in questions, they've not gotten to a point whereby they think that they needed help. But the outsider, the third party, is seeing that this is not right. That we're in a public space, and the way the way they talk to rift rap conductors, all of those kind of maids, talking to your wife in public, and the person is saying, "How can I help this couple?" Now, there are several individuals in such situations that they don't know what they probably are not realizing, they can't see it, but someone else is seeing it. How can we help such individuals?
First of all, I just want to say I like that when we're having these conversations, there's a Nigerian there's a Nigerian flavor to it, because when you say the way you talk to house helps and the way you talk to conductors, you know that is still abuse.
Yeah.
But we have normalized that one.
Mm,
That's our society.
mm,
We have normalized it.
mm.
So when we see it happen to people in those lower quote and unquote positions, we think to ourselves, that's okay. And it started from somewhere.
Yeah.
And the idea that it is now happening in marriages is because it is accepted. If you find a relationship where that is happening and you recognize that this is abuse, there's actually nothing you can do about it.
Mm.
The best you can do is give the person a book, send them a message. You cannot, if you communicate that to the person in the wrong way, you might actually do more harm
Yeah.
than good. Because again, the person in that situation does not recognize what is going on. Maybe they do, but if you talk to someone who doesn't recognize it, you might end up looking like the evil person.
Yeah, they're trying to break a marriage.
Yes, whatever that person's view of marriage is.
Yeah.
So that person might see themselves as being in a good situation. And until their eyes are opened, you cannot help them. You cannot, that's like dragging a horse to the water
I
and
can't
trying
force
to
it off.
force it.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So there's no need for that. When that person in that situation recognizes that there's a problem and they come to you and they say, if they communicate it to you, then you can now say, maybe you should go and see a therapist. Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that. But until they do that, there's nothing you can do about it.
Mm.
Because that person, it's like sometimes with my kids, sometimes I see my daughter talking to my son a certain way and I want to intervene, and my son would tell me, Dad, we're just playing. It's
Wow.
almost like sometimes I'll just look at my wife and just be like, this boy, like, and sometimes I'll be like, I know you're just playing, but I'm trying to teach your sister to treat you, because he doesn't understand why I'm talking. So how do you talk to that kind of person? He doesn't get it. He thinks that the way it's going, and I'm the one that has to say, but that's because I'm the parent.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go and intervene like that, you might end up being the bad person. So my suggestion would be to give them books, subtle ways of opening their eyes, that you are
Okay.
not coming out to say, this is a problem. Let them
Mm.
read those books. If they read it and they get the message, fine. If they don't, I would say mind your business.
I'll pray for them, like a Nigeria contest.
Well,
We are
pray for
praying for
them.
you.
Even though I don't believe that works, because if it works, look, for me, you see, this conversation about religion is that
I
I
have a
grew
question.
up I grew up in deeper life, right? Every Sunday for 1 hour, we used to pray for Nigeria. Nigeria has
Wow.
gotten worse over time. And
Wow.
I'm talking about since when I was 7 years old.
Wow.
Now, people have to realize if Nigeria is going to change, there has to be a revolution. And the revolution is human beings. We have to be the one to rise up. So, what am I trying to say again? That person has to come to the realization. If you're praying for the person, I don't know. Some people believe that it works. For me personally, my experience, that person has to see it for themselves.
Good. We have a question from I think Andrea. The question is do you think that if we were to say seeing a coach, then a counselor will be more effective and accepted? I think he's trying to ask the
Yes,
difference between
people are more
coach.
comfortable with coach. I think people are more comfortable with coach. I think that when you say coach, and I use that a lot. I think people are more comfortable with that, obviously, because it doesn't insinuate that the person has mental health problems or the
Yeah,
person
because
is
of counselor.
crazy, so or you say therapy. Oh, people just run away from that. I don't. Do I need therapy? I don't need therapy. So whatever works for the person. I just think that sometimes it's just, do you want to talk to someone? It's not really about coaching, just someone, because a lot of times the bulk of the work is providing a safe space for that person to communicate.
Yeah.
That's the bulk of the work. A non-judgmental space. People get
Mm.
to say things that they've never ever been able to say in their entire life. It's so nice when someone can be in a therapeutic space and say, I hate my mom. Do you
Wow.
know how cathartic
Yes.
that
They will
is?
listen to the burden.
Just it's a relief. And then you can have conversations around why. Tell me why. Like, okay, and then you talk about it, and then you realize that this is the reason and this is the reason. So, but you see that because the person was never able to admit that, then they were never able to see the reason why.
Mm.
So how do you exploit when you've not admitted the problem? I had a friend those days when we were growing up. Dad was cheating on the mom. Dad was doing all sorts of things. She even caught the dad once, and the dad told her, your mother is even lucky that I've not
Ah,
married another wife. And
wow.
she used to tell me, she said, I love my dad so much, but I love my dad so much, but, and recently we're talking, and she said, oh, I really dislike that man. And she said,
What
I
happened?
always, I always did. I always did. But because we were young that time, she just felt like, how can I say I don't like my father? Like it's a bad thing to
Yeah,
say
bad thing to say.
I don't like my father, but she didn't really like him. None of his attributes appealed to her. There was nothing about him that she admired. He was a cheat, he was a liar, he was dishonorable to her, all those things. But she was never able to say,
I hate my dad.
I don't like my dad, and so that kind of person, again, because you keep lying to yourself and saying you like your dad, then you see somebody like him, you might end up lying to yourself too, that you like that person. There's
Hmm.
just so many things. But
That is
yeah,
that is amazing. This is still the global talkative series with Dr. Sam Uwa, certified coach, and our topic of discussion today is demystifying the taboo around family and marital counseling therapy part two. And we have just about 10 minutes more on this discussion. I have like two questions, one for men, one for women. Now I'll go first for the women. What are the key lessons you would like to share with the women from your years as a therapist, counselor, or coach?
you know, there's no need to divide it between men and women.
Because I have the same question for men.
Exactly. When you said women, I know that you're gonna have the same question for men.
We can do it together.
I think that I think that we all need to understand where we're coming from. Where are you coming from? You're coming from a place where you were born, and when you opened your eyes, you saw people around you. You've always defined yourself based on your relationships, based on who mommy told you you were, based on who daddy told you you were. You've never really had the time to look inwards and look at yourself and know who you are. And when you do not know who you are, getting into a relationship with someone else, it's like running after fool's gold.
Mm,
That relationship will never be real, because as long as you don't find yourself, you would always be wearing a mask.
yeah.
And so, whoever that person is loving is not you. So, my advice for everyone is to make it your primary duty, your primary job to discover yourself.
Mm.
And you need to understand that there's so many things that stand in your way of doing that, which we cannot get into. But that's why the best place to do it is in a therapeutic space.
Yeah,
Because look, guys, we are all traumatized, all of us.
in one way or the other.
You are walking around with some heavy trauma. Look, just because you're not crazy and walking around and killing people or stabbing people doesn't mean that you don't have trauma. All those things that were done in ignorance to you, the abuse, the insults, the ignoring, the disqualification of your feelings, of your emotions, the the there's a lot.
Especially with this issue of racism, that
And
makes it worse.
you know, that's the thing. So you can see that even if your parents tried not to even abuse you, the society that you're even living in is also traumatizing you. And for many of us, if you were traumatized at home, then you now got to work, you're traumatized, it's just making it worse. Then you
Mm.
get into the streets, the police traumatize you, whoever it is, they're traumatizing you, is just making it worse. So you become this person that is essentially reactive. You're reacting to things and it's not you. It's not you. You need to be able to find yourself. And to illustrate that, I'll give an example. I spoke to two sisters recently. And you know, I was just going to say that before you ask the last question. When we say family and marital, people have to understand that they're two different things. Sometimes I talk to families where mom is there, dad is there, child is there. Because the conversation, because we grew up in the context of our families, a lot of the things that we do are as a result of that environment.
Mm.
So for a lot of people, some of the issues that they're facing today have to do with what happened in their families. There are many people who are walking around today who have some serious feelings about their mom, about their dad, about their siblings. And sometimes being able to sort those out actually help us to live a healthier and more productive life. I was going to give an example of two sisters that I was talking to. One of them, the way she reacts to conflict is to withdraw. And the other one, the way she reacts to conflict is to attack.
Mm.
And they never realized it. But once annoyance was every time I try to tell this person what she's doing, she'll be ignoring me. She'll put headphones in her ears and she'll
Wow.
just be acting as if I'm not talking to her. That's her own way of reacting. And the other one, her own way of reacting is to fight and punch. And just sitting both of them down and saying, when we feel attacked, we react in one of three ways. We attack, we defend, or we withdraw.
Yeah.
And it looks like you are a withdrawer, and it looks like you are an attacker.
Mm.
So whenever you feel like attacking, tell me what happened. And she said, this is what happened, this is what happened. Says, so this thing that this person did made you feel like you were in danger and you felt the need to protect yourself. Yes. How about you? When you withdrew this way, what is it that happened? Oh, this happened. And I felt like I was being hurt and I felt I was being attacked. So this is how both of us, this has been our pattern as sisters.
Mm.
Every time, this is how I've been reacting. And now that consciousness has changed their relationship without me even having to say anything like, do this, do this, do this. One
Mm.
person has decided, when I am upset, instead of attacking you, I will tell you you are upsetting me. And the other
Yeah.
one has decided, instead of withdrawing, I will tell you. But you see, that is what I mean by finding yourself.
And that's a question someone was just asking, that this concept of finding myself, how do you do it? How do I find myself?
So that answers your question because you get to know who, because it's understanding you. Because you know, you have your unconscious and your conscious. Your unconscious is currently the person that is directing a lot of people today. Once you become conscious of the unconscious, you become in control.
Mm.
So it means that, like for me, I'll give you an example for myself. One day my son was crying, and as he was crying, I thought to myself, I think I've shared this with you. Why does this boy cry too much like a woman? Oh my God. That's what I was thinking in my, but that was my unconscious.
Mm.
My conscious called him and held him close for him to cry, because I know that men cry and women cry. Human beings cry. My conscious is that I am not going to shut down my son emotionally so that he grows up to become a man that is emotionally unavailable.
Yeah, and crying is not a sign of weakness.
It's
It's
that's the
not.
point. But you see that my unconscious conditioning was telling me that it is a sign of weakness. So knowing myself, I now know that this is what happens. And I was
Mm.
able to tell myself to react differently. Maybe 10 years ago, if I had a son and he cried, I'd be like, come on, my friend, please, 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 you feel they cry like woman. Stop, shut up there, keep quiet. That would have been my reaction. That would have been my automatic reaction.
Mm.
But being aware of yourself makes you decide differently. And even sometimes when you fail, you will still be aware of it and you'll be able to make repairs
Mm.
immediately because you are seeing yourself behave that way. You are
Mm.
not like somebody that is being controlled, that is just reacting. Someone is asking a question, do you have a course?
Yeah, on
You
how
know,
to find yourself.
I have thought about doing a course, but the problem with courses is that there's no one size fits all.
Yeah.
We are all different. I could create a course that talks about this particular kind of personality, and you could buy that course, and it would be so unapplicable to you. And you finish
Yeah.
and you say, I just wasted my money. That's the reason why it has to be individualized. And that's the reason why the best way for you to do that is to do it in therapy. And
Thank you
honestly,
so
we're gonna
much.
we're gonna make therapy to become very popular very soon.
It has to. Thank you so much for hanging out today. We are just about 3 minutes more to end this. This is another 1 hour. Now, if you're watching me on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, you can get to meet or to have a counseling session with Dr. Sam. Just go online www.domesticatedman.ca/coaching. The domesticated man, as in THEDOMESTICATEDMAN. That's the domesticated man.ca/coaching, because I know a lot of folks who are asking questions: how to discover yourself, how to be yourself, how to reason, to talk. I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a coach, even though I do my own bit of encouragement, motivational on the side as an artist, as an influencer. But it's a profession in this, and that's what I'm encouraging you to reach out to him. The website is being displayed on a social media platform, YouTube and Facebook, but not on Instagram. But you can just reach out to the domesticatedman.ca/coaching, and then you can have a one-on-one counseling session. Because whether we like it or not, we all need someone to talk to. Even if nothing's wrong with you,
And your
just
mind
talk
is
to
your
someone.
superpower.
Your mind is powerful, and you
The
never
way
know.
your behavior is determined by the way you see things, like your mind is your everything. that's that's
Yes.
that's it. Yeah.
And if your mind is fruitful, your mind is active, then you can be sure that your life is on the right course.
Right.
Because if I've read in the scripture and I believe so much in it, because I'm a Christian, it says,
Right.
as a man think in his heart, so is
So
he.
he is.
So that means if your mind is terrible, if you keep having bad thoughts, keep having negative thoughts, or the kind of feeds that come to you, it's negative and bad, you can imagine how your life will turn out, to whether we like it or not. Our thoughts somehow controls the way we do things. It sends neurons to your brain, to your senses, and you act. I don't want to say much about this because we're just going to round up on this topic. Trust me, Dr. Sam is going to come back on this show for another different, because it is a matters of the heart. It
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah. It does.
It's a matter of the heart. And I'm saying this, just get in touch with him. Go to his follow him on Instagram and also the website, the domesticatedman.ca/coaching, and then you can get instruction and lessons that will be valuable for your life. Remember, I keep saying this: you can either be your brother's keeper or your brother's killer. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today on this show. I
Thank
still remain your
you.
host,
Thank
Lanre
you.
Ajayi.
Thank you,
Bye for
guys.
now. Thank you for all those who joined. I appreciate you. Bye for now.